Welcome back to Human Resources for the People. It's a human capital revolution. Today we're going to be talking about labor laws in Colombia. Labor laws are changing in Colombia, and I want to give a quick rundown. It's part of my history on comparative employment law politics. I think it's interesting. I think there's a lot to it, I'm just enamored, I guess, with this area of law and with this area of human resources. So today we're going to go over Colombia. Like I said, we're going to look ahead in 2023. And more specifically, we're going to look at this article written by Alejandro Miguel Castellanos Lopez, who's the director of the Judicial Representation and Litigation Practice, and from Lopez and Associates. You can get the article down below if you're interested in more from this author. The first thing that's interesting that's happening is that the minimum wage is going up. It's going up to 1 million, a little over a million Colombian pesos, which this is a monthly payment. So don't quite think that you're rich. This is about 258 US dollars. So the monthly payment for minimum wage is going up to 258, and that's pretty important. Especially with the inflation, every bit counts, especially with these minimum wages. The next one up is a change in work week. It's pretty interesting, and it's a little bit different than what Americans think of, to be fair. So the work week in 2021, they passed a law in Colombia that slowly reduced the work week from 48 hours down to 42. And that takes place over several years. The 42 will be reached in 2026. And so it's not it will be slowly changed on July 15th every year. This year in 2023, it will go down to 47, and then in 24, it'll go down to 46. Um, and it's not what you, I think, typically think of. It is this work week is based on the maximum amount of hours someone can legally work. Now, in the United States, you there is no maximum hour that you can legally work. At least federally, there may be some states that require a minimum elsewhere. But it is interesting that Colombia put this into effect to finally drop from 48, eventually down to 42 in 2026. So that's going to be a welcome change for Colombian employees. The next one up is about PPE or work boots. This one's kind of interesting. So, in the United States, the employer is not required to pay for non specialty safety toe protective footwear per OSHA, which many people don't realize. That is not a requirement. Many companies do it because it feels good and it should be done, but it's not a requirement by law. Uh, Colombia's rules, they have a payment schedule, an allowance that comes on April 30th, the 31st of August, and 20th of December for employees who make less than double the minimum wage. So I think that's interesting. So if you make less than roughly $500 a month, you will get an allowance. And again, that's not required in American law, but I do think that that is an interesting differential there. Other things to note that it's coming down the pike with respect to labor law in Colombia is that Congress in Colombia is currently studying a bill to move the night shift to 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and to increase Sunday work surcharge. That's interesting. Federal law in the United States has nothing to do with the definitions of night shift, and there certainly isn't a Sunday work charge surcharge at all. That could be as a result of the religious nature of the Colombian populace. But in addition, obviously, American labor law is less restrictive in these scenarios. In addition, they're looking over changes to restrict the use of outsourcing and independent contractors. America is currently doing that at the state level. That's where, in my opinion, it mostly belongs. There is some contract differentiation, and of course, the Fair Labor Standards Act definitely determines who is an employee and who is not. But that said, it is kind of interesting to understand that they are talking about how to manage contracting and outsourcing services. Many post-colonial countries have this concern with respect to recruiting, and I think it's something that I may dig deep in. If you liked what you heard today, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and let me know what you think about it. Leave a comment down below if you have worked in Colombia, if you can give us any more insight than just what I've shared here today. And I'd love to hear from you. We'll shout them out in future episodes so we can talk about it more. As always, have a great day and goodbye, guys.